Good morning, 9:51 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Date 3/13/2011. And we have a daily S&P 500 chart right here. Basically, we're going over with MMTs that the S&P over here on our home page that we talked about a market reversal. And that we would have one, and it started with the gap down to this very low right here. And this is a daily chart. And what we're going to look at here is what the daily movement was. This is the major catalyst bar right here. And that's 1/2 daily bar is $12.99 on the S&P 500. That's this bar down here. Okay, and that was on 2/1/2011. We've come down here and we managed to close above on the S&P 500 at 13.04 because we did. And each one of these lines here, and let's go to the top formation. Let me blow this up for you. Here you go, MMT. This is where we had that daily breakout all the way up to the top and then that reversal. We came up here on these daily deltas, and boy, here again, daily red bar. That meant on the 3-minute and the 60-minute you were dropping in price, and bam. And part of that this whole staging top is that during this phase, the bulls have been able to hold on to this major part of the move in here. And this is one delta, okay, so it's a half delta 1, half delta 2, half delta 3, 4 half delta movements times 10 is 40 handles up and the same 40 handles down. What we're looking for is that we have continuously, during the daily reversal of the S&P, is that we did make a final lower low with a daily bar right here. And that's at 1300.17 half bar. And that was done on 3/11/2011. And basically, this big daily reversal bar right here is 1304.97, and that was on 3/10/2011. The S&P must and will have to consolidate above that half delta price action bar on the daily index S&P for the MMT market maker to clearly understand exactly where the S&P 500 stocks are going to trade long and short, and where the momentum of the yearly index is to start with. And that's the gift of understanding that, once again, from the original daily reversal with price action volatility back up to these delta, these are called half delta lines back up here, and this is a daily chart, but they're half delta movements here, and you can see how they slid the bid, and we made lower lows in the S&P. But now on Friday's daily action bar is the amount of the bottom up. It did not qualify for a total confirmation reversal, MMTs, because this daily bar would have had to been almost as equal as distance in price action. Half delta up, you got one. You needed 2 half deltas. That was 20 points, 20.76, and you needed the same distance of deltas off of the bottom as you had in that previous daily delta down. See, you had half delta down times 2. Okay, that's over almost $21. So on the actual on that reversal, and that meant that stocks were shortable intraday. So the thing about it is, to qualify from the original market reversal here to the finally lower low at the closing Friday's bell, it did not qualify for the SMF market maker reversal because it didn't take out the delta down as the same delta up. Did not. Delta contraction, delta expansion was weak during the daily. So that concludes the daily. MMTs. Here is an S&P weekly. This is your weekly movement that I have currently. Let's see if it's up to date, because this is where that long-term trend started. This is where that weekly, let's go ahead and populate that MMTs. Watch these gauges. Wow, look at that. Wow, boy, that thing populated quickly. Look at all the diamond alerts. What an uptrend that was. Now, look at these double diamond weekly alerts. They're still double diamond weekly alerts, and they mean everything. That what you gave yourself permission to do is trade these moves until they stop. And they stopped with the gap down, and this is a weekly range that we came down, and this is a key weekly bar right here. MMT in your market maker platform. Isn't that a gift? 1293.75 is your half weekly bar at the price line. That happened on 1/31 of 2011. You must consolidate or you come down and hit that, but I can tell you, MMT, that you have to come off that bottom faster and harder than you went down in order to know that you're going to leave your long intraday positions runnable. If the S&P daily chart is showing what it does and we don't get above that, now we're looking at a weekly, this is the support right here. The upper end of this contract is going to be in the short term is this half weekly bar right here on the S&P, and that's 13.08 half weekly price action Jackson bar, and I got to close above it MMT, because if I don't, then I'm not going to break this previous reversal yearly 2011 yearly high. Okay, that was on 214 when it made that, and the IR was at 100%. Yeah, half bar then right here. You can see these diamond alerts. They all have something in that info panel, and they mean something. Okay, and basically, if we don't hold that and build a base off of there, then we have lower areas to come down. Here's the original breakout bar. Let's take a look and see what this bar is. That was on 11/29 of 2010, and that half bar was 1229.95 right here. Because it was. That's what it says in the info panel. That's what the actual half weekly bar was. That's from the bottom all the way up to the top and down. It doesn't matter. And basically, we have different ones. We got ones over here at 1277. That's a major one. This one here, this weekly one right here, that half bar, that diamond alert there, it's 1321 on a weekly level. That's what that is. So basically, we closed at 1304, and we have a lot of work to do on the next weekly level. If we don't have a weekly breakout bar during the options triple witch 2000, it's the first triple witch that you would have to have a complete weekly 5-day bar to confirm, and the beginning of a 3-minute and then a 60-minute on the S&P, and then the daily bar getting above those half daily bars to be able to validate that you were putting momentum back into the S&P, so that you would know how to let your low entries on the S&P 500 stocks like Goldman bounce off the bottom. Goldman Sachs, you got some other leaders in the S&P 500 as well. And that the broader index, which is, you know, going to have to, those leadership names in the S&P are going to be the ones that's going to drive these indexes higher during that 5-day period. And it's going to be, each one of these are 5 days. It's weekly. So we'll have to see that weekly bar, and we have to see it start on Monday using the daily bars, and like I said, the shorter term 3-minute and 60-minute to establish what kind of call options you're going to be buying and what you're going to be doing, so that you understand clearly if that index is building price action momentum from the original reversal over here, then the expiration to the call side is going to pay, should that occur. And that's what we're going to be on standby for tomorrow morning. Once again, this is a weekly SMF MMT weekly platform. that 1320 and a close below it means that the S&P is weak. And if I have a daily reversal bar at that key number, or a 60-minute reversal bar at that 1320 handle, then I know that we're not going higher, and that everything on the shorter term is going to have negative ratios, which is going to get me on the right side of the market. And that would be intraday put options on different names, and reversals and using different bear ETFs and bull ETFs. There's the SSO and the SDS that go along with this S&P 500. That's the S&P 500 weekly analysis, MMTs. It's a beautiful Sunday. Once again, it's 10:02 a.m. Today's date, 3/13/2011. 2011 triple wit. All of the indexes are going to be expiring. Everything in this next week. And once again, here are your readings on the S&P 500. You were up 9.02 handles, which, hey, it was an expansion. But the thing about it is, one delta up is exactly 1320. Isn't that amazing? Two deltas is 1337. Up back below the high where I said they were going to sell 3 weeks ago. This is the fourth final week of the 20-day price action. Clearly said that you were going to get this because you were overbought. Those are on the stockmarketfunding.com homepage, and they're all very truthful and accurate MMTs. So you have your historical data. That's a delta. You don't close above it, that S&P is not going up there. Period. That's a delta. That's a delta. That's a delta of 21.51 movement. One delta dollar movement will be 21.51 line. That is the conclusion of the weekly. And ironically enough, if I do not close above, and it had that weekly bar already factored in there, for crying out loud, it's got to close above 1315, which is right there. And this one here, it's got to close above 1317. And you finally get over here, and I'm telling you, MMT, 1313 at the lower end. So you got to get above that 1320 handle. That's this right here.